Listen.
Do you hear that sound? I swear I hear machines marching on pavement. I can hear the sound of the internet. It's the sound of the blinding lights that control every one of us in a digital world. In the cold, sterile glow of your screens, where reality blurs with the virtual and the known entwines with the unknown, welcome, dear listener, to a realm of chilling tales. Tonight, we dive into the shadowy depths of our digital world, where technology and terror intertwine, birthing stories that would make even the most hardened tech guru shudder. So brace yourself, for we are about to venture into the eerie abyss of the internet, unearthing the most disturbing tales of technology horror. Lock your doors, dim your lights, and remember, there's no escape key for what you're about to hear. Story 1. Inferno in the Server Room.
In the heart of London, ensconced within the towering edifice of an age-old office building, I found myself as the sole representative of our IT department. The rest of my team was stationed miles away in Newcastle. As a young professional of 18, I was eager yet unseasoned, a novice navigating the labyrinthine world of corporate tech. One ordinary afternoon, as the city buzzed with the drone of lunchtime chatter, my senses were assaulted by an unusual scent. It was a faint whiff of something burning, a quiet alarm that set off a silent panic within me. I prowled the office, my nostrils flaring at each printer, trying to pinpoint the origin of the smell. My coworkers dismissed my concerns, chuckling at my overzealousness. But the scent intensified, morphing into the acrid stench of melting plastic. Despite the dismissive comments from my colleagues, I couldn't shake off the nagging dread gnawing at my gut. I stepped out onto our office balcony for a reprieve and was met with a horrifying sight: tendrils of smoke curling up from an outdoor riser cupboard, its usual dull facade now a smoky beacon of impending disaster. Barely keeping my panic in check, I rushed back into the office, my shouts of fire echoing through the hallways. Even as the fire alarms blared their ominous warning, there was an air of disbelief. I frantically dialed the Newcastle office, urging them to shut down our servers, but my pleas fell on skeptical ears. Their disbelief was palpable even over the phone. "But can you actually see smoke?" they asked, their voices laced with condescension. Exasperated, I instructed them to connect to our office via the video conferencing system. Their initial skepticism was replaced by a chilling silence as they were greeted by a wall of gray, the grim testament of the smoke invasion. The aftermath was a scene from a nightmare. The office was ravaged, a section of it charred beyond recognition. The server room, once pristine, was now a mausoleum of technology, its lifeblood choked out by thick black soot. I was left to grapple with the disaster alone. My pleas for help met with indifference and mockery. In the end, my youthful enthusiasm was extinguished by the very flames I had tried to warn against. The company's lack of support and paltry compensation were the final nails in the coffin of my tenure there. I left, carrying with me the bitter taste of betrayal and the haunting memory of an office turned inferno.
Story 2. Echoes of a Deadly Machine.
In the bowels of a sprawling data center, I once worked among towering silos of magnetic tape, each a hulking monolith with high-speed robotic arms darting in and out, swapping tapes with an eerie precision. 8 of these behemoths stood sentinel, their metallic bodies enclosing that ever-spinning arm, a dance of death choreographed by technological necessity. One fateful evening, the symphony of whirring and clicking was shattered by a noise that echoed like a gunshot through the cavernous room. A bearing had given way in one of the silos, transforming the claw arm into a lethal projectile. It tore through the reinforced casing of the silo with horrifying velocity, embedding itself in the opposite wall. The chilling thought that someone could have been standing there instantly transformed from human to cyborg, then nothingness, haunted my nights for weeks after. Before my tenure in this technological underworld, the facility had housed a monstrous flywheel system. This gargantuan iron disc, spinning tirelessly within a fortified housing, served as the bridge between generator, battery, and city power, a mechanical titan until the day its axle snapped. The 2-meter disc plunged deep into the earth with a force that shook the building's foundations. Had it careened in any other direction, it could have torn through the complex like a rogue missile, leaving devastation in its wake. But it chose the earth, and there it remained, a buried testament to mechanical failure, hidden beneath a layer of concrete and denial. The battery room was another realm of lurking danger. Its inhabitants were repurposed submarine batteries, densely packed into rooms that hummed with latent energy. The threat they posed was so potent that only those with specialized training dared to venture within. It was a silent beast, its venomous power waiting behind secured doors. The final specter that stalked these halls was not mechanical, but tragically human. There were whispered tales of employees who, working late into the night, succumbed to heart attacks at their desks. Their bodies sat undiscovered for hours, even days. One such victim was found only because his wife raised an alarm. Had she not, he might have remained in his lonely vigil over the long weekend, a macabre statue in this cathedral of technology.
Story 3: A Technician's Nightmare.
In the shadowy depths of my past, I was a roving technician for a computer repair shop perched precariously on the fringes of Camden, New Jersey. For those unacquainted with this urban labyrinth, Camden serves as a paradoxical attraction, a city that housed both a vibrant aquarium and the Tweeter Center, yet was shrouded in an aura of palpable danger. The unwritten rules of navigating this city were simple. Stick to the main arteries, keep your car windows securely rolled up, and ensure every door is bolted shut. Stray from these guidelines, and you risked the ire of the local law enforcement, who assumed that any deviation was either an attempt to secure illicit substances or a death wish. Armed with nothing but a rudimentary map and a car laden with valuable computer parts, LCD screens, and laptops, I would venture into the labyrinthine streets of Camden. The absence of a GPS system often led me astray, plunging me into areas where the streetlights flickered menacingly, casting monstrous shadows on the graffiti-strewn walls. Dead ends became terrifying traps, forcing me to execute nerve-wracking U-turns under the watchful gaze of suspicious onlookers. On one such night, I noticed a car trailing me, its headlights glaring ominously in my rearview mirror. The chill that ran down my spine turned into ice-cold fear when I saw a car blocking the road ahead. In the backlit glow of the headlights, I saw figures emerging from the vehicles. Summoning a courage born of desperation, I gunned the engine and steered onto the sidewalk, my tires crunching over gravel and grass as I cut across someone's front lawn. Ignoring the blaring horns and flashing lights, I bulldozed through stop signs, my heart pounding in sync with the thunderous beat of the engine, till I reached the familiar confines of the repair shop. Although I've heard whispers that Camden has since shrouded its rough edges, those harrowing memories still linger, transforming into nightmarish echoes whenever the sun dips below the horizon.
Story 4. Terrors in the Storage Room.
I'm not referring to the mundane terrors of network failures or managerial nightmares. I'm talking about moments when a cold, visceral fear for your own safety claws its way into your consciousness while on duty. It was during a late-night shift in a colossal structure dating back to the 1950s. I was assigned to oversee a cutover, which thankfully went without a hitch. As I prepared to depart, a minor hiccup with the security alarm halted my tracks. An error code flashed ominously on the screen, suggesting an open door somewhere in the building. I diligently inspected all known entrances, each one securely bolted, their silence mocking my growing anxiety. The cryptic name of the alerting door led me to remember the vast, forsaken paper storage area nestled next to the subterranean parking garage, a place I'd visited frequently in daylight, but never under the cloak of night. Descending into the bowels of the building, I checked every door within my knowledge. Then, I ventured into the paper storage room. It was a monstrous cavern of forgotten documents, hauntingly empty, its silence echoing like a ghostly whisper. But something was different. The far corner was bathed in an unfamiliar glow, revealing a pathway through piles of discarded relics, leading towards an obscured corner. A chill seeped into my bones. I've always been a connoisseur of horror films, and my mind began painting macabre scenarios. Fumbling, I dialed my supervisor, informing him about the alarm issue and my exploration. His voice provided a thin thread of comfort as I ventured deeper into the labyrinth, my heart pounding like a death drum in my chest. As I neared the source of the faint glow, the phone signal flickered, mirroring my dwindling bravado. There it was, a long-forgotten door, slightly ajar, its base cleared of years' worth of dust and debris, a chilling indication of recent usage after decades of neglect. My blood turned to ice. We had suffered break-ins recently, and I realized this hidden door to the gloomy garage could easily have been overlooked in our security checks. Images of intruders or hostile squatters flashed in my mind, magnifying my isolation and vulnerability. I quickly scanned the immediate vicinity, then yanked the door shut, its lock clicking like a gunshot in the oppressive silence. With adrenaline fueling my steps, I darted back upstairs, set the alarm, and fled into the safety of the night. Have any of you experienced such spine-chilling encounters while on duty?
Story 5. Alone in the Clinic. An IT horror story.
I was a mere fledgling in the vast world of medical technology, having just begun my journey as a student worker at a dialysis clinic. The only other IT compatriot, my boss, had finally taken his long-overdue vacation to the exotic landscapes of Thailand, leaving me to man the fort. A few days into his absence, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the office clock chimed 5, I received a call that sent a shiver down my spine. The receptionist informed me that they were unable to redirect the emergency line to the on-call doctor. This meant that all after-hours calls would be directed to a voice box, and upon receiving a message, the doctor would be alerted to check the voice box and respond accordingly. The system was an archaic one, built around a self-scripted Alcatel Omni PCX phone system. I had never laid hands on this relic before, and as I logged in, I felt like an archaeologist trying to decipher hieroglyphics. After 2 hours of futile attempts, I waved the white flag and dialed the service provider for the system. They dispatched a technician who arrived around 9 in the evening. However, he had clearly been indulging in Friday night festivities and was so inebriated he could barely stand. His attempt at fixing the problem was about as successful as a drunken sailor trying to walk a tightrope, and he departed without resolving the issue. As I stood alone in the eerie silence of the deserted office, I debated whether to abandon the problem for the night. Just as I was about to give up, the phone rang with a chilling urgency. The voice on the other end mistook me for the on-call doctor, informing me that a kidney transplant for a patient was ready and they needed confirmation within 15 minutes. My blood ran cold as I realized the gravity of the situation. I frantically dialed the first doctor on speed dial, praying that they would answer. Fortune favored me, and a groggy voice assured me they would handle the situation. With the crisis temporarily averted, I found myself staring at the clock, which now read 1 a.m. It was 8 a.m. in Thailand, and without a second thought, I called my boss. He swiftly logged into my computer via TeamViewer from his phone and fixed the issue within minutes.